Realizing you've learned something sometimes requires hindsight. It's the looking back that makes you go, wow, I've really grown. I'm such a different person than I was 10 years ago. I've been playing RuneScape since I was 7, and years later I've realized this game has educated me on so much more than just knowing that copper and tin make bronze. It's taught me valuable life lessons and skills that, as silly as it sounds, changed me. If I didn't play RuneScape, I'm sure I'd be in a North Korean prison right now, freezing to death. But really, who knows? But for now, looking back, here are 5 life lessons that RuneScape has taught me. Watching my dad type on a keyboard is like watching a bird peck at crumbs. His pointer finger stretches out as he taps slowly on each key. I swear it takes him a whole year to write an email. He's a very smart guy, but during his childhood there was no need to learn these things, unless you wanted to become a secretary or something similar. It was a skill the same way as knowing how to use Excel is a skill it is now. Flashback to the 2000s, my mom thought it would be useful to make me use typing programs such as Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing. And she was right. But nothing gave me the fastest fingers in the West like RuneScape. Imagine this, and we all have our stories, of course, but you need to sell these oak tree logs before bedtime. The market is fierce. It's a Friday night, so that means it is competitive. You got Twinkle Winkle 45 on the other side of Falador offering oak logs for 1 GP less than you. And any civilized consumer of oak logs is going to know that that is a good deal. But you have something Twinkle Winkle 45 doesn't. You know marketing. You know advertising. You are the Don Draper of Gillinor. You can type Red Wave selling 1,000 oak logs 50 GP each faster than anyone. And to our young minds attracted to cocoa melon and bright lights, this gets the other player's attention. So you type and type and type. You can feel your little fingers trying to keep up with your will, and before you know it, after years of practice, you can type faster than any of your RuneScapeless friends, your parents, or just the average Joe, thanks to RuneScape. You are in demand. You name an office job and it's yours, after you grow up a little, of course. Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, all discussed their states of nature, and they were pretty good. However, if only they could have played RuneScape in its prime. Look, they made some good points. Maybe Hobbes would have enjoyed RuneScape the most. I don't know. But nothing has prepared me for the real world like losing the 50k I earned tanning cowhides to a money doubler. Yes, and I am embarrassed to speak about this, as it is an obvious scam to the average IQ RuneScape player today. Maybe even below average IQ. But years ago, I was this little naive elementary school kid. I saw a fellow RuneScaper trade the doubler, and he was ecstatic, and he was like, wow, thanks for doubling my money. If only I knew what was to come. So I bit, and I traded him my 50k, and he trades me back double my GP. Holy frick, I said. So I traded him again. You can see where this is starting to go. But this time, there was no trade back. There was no little boy going, holy frick. There was only me standing alone on the west side of the Grand Exchange, speechless, trying to figure out why he logged out. Mentally, I became a grown man in a boy's body that day. Never again would I fall for such a farce. I even took up drinking that night. I remember I went to Longhorn Steakhouse with my dad, and I made sure to order a root beer. And of course, it came in like this glass beer mug, and so you would pour it in, and I sat there in silence sipping on it like some sort of Clint Eastwood type. And in my child mind, I reached deep into itself, and I was like, yeah, people suck. And until this day, if something seems too good to be true, it usually is, so I stay clear of it. Thanks to RuneScape. In my introductory business class in school, we learned about supply and demand. You have too much supply, not enough demand, if it dropped to fit equilibrium, yada, 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 whatever. And I remember thinking, wow, I actually feel like My homework is to draw my family with crayons. And I've never said that about school. Usually I'm maybe struggling through or have to work pretty hard, but RuneScape taught me valuable basic economics that helped me that day. Another example would be when I tried to explain to a special someone that did not play RuneScape that you can't just print more money without consequences. My mind always goes to RuneScape. Imagine if Jagex just gave everybody 100 million GP. People would go crazier than a Black Friday at Walmart. Imagine where people would be getting items basically for free as sellers try to adjust price to keep up with the new value of each individual GP or so. It's sort of like maybe the difference a stick of gum has in value from when you first open the pack versus when you are on your last piece. That last stick of gum is not going to you, Timmy, with your drooling mouth. No, Timmy, this is my last piece. I already gave you one when I opened my. But just each individual, that one piece has more value than the whole pack. I'm gonna stop there. But RuneScape makes you work for items, and items have a certain scarcity and time put into them. So naturally, even kids can find the right price. And thanks to RuneScape, I was shown that early on. I feel as though we are extremely wired for short-term pleasure. And long-term pleasure requires a higher level of reasoning. It is something that you need to build towards, something you need to will towards. And RuneScape once again taught me that. It let me see that I must set long-term goals, and then take a long-term goal and break it up into smaller parts. And through achieving these smaller goals, I get my dopamine, and then all of a sudden, we're at the finish line. Recipe for Disaster is a huge milestone on any account. And this was really the first long-term goal I set for myself. I didn't know who I would be, what I'd be doing, or even if I could get all the requirements. But I did. And looking back, this has translated into my IRL life very well. In the gym, for example, I break down my long-term goal to gain muscle or size and endurance into its smaller parts. Okay, this week, 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps to gain muscle, an extra tablespoon of peanut butter to add calories. I need to start running 10 miles straight. Okay, just run for 5 minutes today, 6 minutes tomorrow, and 7 minutes the next day until all of a sudden I'm running a mile without stopping. RuneScape taught me that IRL goals are better achieved when you break them down, and achieving the smaller goals first so you get the pleasure and therefore more motivation to achieve the next one. In a world filled with social media, a fear of missing out has gripped us, including me. I open Instagram and see literally these picture-perfect people having picture-perfect lives. And I hate that that isn't me. I hate that I'm not living that life. And I want to be just like them, and so I lose myself in it. I hate it, but I can't stop. Often I have to take a step back and remember that what is available to me on social media most of the time isn't reality. In RuneScape, I'm reminded of seeing a maxed player in best in slot gear and wanting so hard for what he has. But just seeing the final result doesn't show you the behind the scenes. It doesn't show you the times his luck at Cerberus was worse than yours, if it's possible. It doesn't show you how he got the agility pet at level 80 even though you are close to 200 mil XP and still have no pet. And life is full of these things. Not everything is perfect or fair. When people say that the world is full of possibilities, they mean the good and the bad. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I've been getting a lot of support recently, and it means a lot to me. I remember I think it was my first video, and my views went from 4 to 5, and being ecstatic because that one view wasn't from me, it was somebody else. And so you guys have done a lot, and if you could please subscribe, like, or comment on the video, maybe about something that what RuneScape taught you. That would mean the world to me. I'd really love to see that. I'm really enjoying this YouTube process and would love to continue. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.